Ever wondered what the official game plan for America's foreign policy looks like? Well, today, we're cracking open the 2025 National Security Strategy. This is the document that's supposed to lay out exactly how America plans to deal with the rest of the world. So, let's get right into it and break it down.
All right, so what is this America First National Security Strategy all about? I mean, really, that's the big question we're tackling today. And we're not going to guess. We're going straight to the source document to see what it says in its own words about its vision and its plan.
Okay, first things first. The document is super clear about what it means by strategy. It basically says, look, this isn't just a list of things we hope for. A real strategy has to be a concrete, realistic plan. It's all about connecting what you want to do, the ends, with what you can do, the means. This really sets a no-nonsense, pragmatic tone for the whole thing.
So that begs the question, right? Why even write a whole new strategy? Well, according to this document, it's because past American foreign policy got a lot of things fundamentally wrong. It lays out a pretty detailed diagnosis of what it sees as the big mistakes.
And here's the core of that critique, side by side. The document argues that past strategy was just this messy laundry list of wishes. It says we were too focused on globalism and so-called free trade, and that our allies were just free-riding on America's military protection. The proposed fix? A huge shift. The idea is to get laser-focused on America's national interests, push for policies that are good for American workers, and make sure our allies are pulling their own weight.
And to really hammer this point home, the document makes a pretty sharp accusation. It's not just saying the old foreign policy establishment had the wrong goals. It's claiming that by chasing those goals, they actually weakened the country itself, that they undermined the very means necessary for success and damaged the nation's character, its power, and its wealth. That's a really strong statement.
Okay, so that's the diagnosis, what the document thinks went wrong. Now let's flip the script and look at the vision. What does this new strategy actually want to achieve? What are the big ultimate goals for America?
First up, and this is foundational, is full control over the country's borders. The document doesn't see this as just another policy debate. It frames it as an issue of national sovereignty, plain and simple.
Next on the list, having the world's most powerful military. No question about it. And the idea here is all about deterrent. It's not just about being able to win a war, it's about being so overwhelmingly strong that other countries don't even think about picking a fight in the first place.
Then, you've got a huge focus on the economy right here at home. A really key goal is building the world's most robust industrial base. The thinking is that real national power, comes from a country's ability to actually make things.
And right along with that is a call for unrivaled energy dominance. This isn't just about growing the economy. It's about using America's massive energy resources as a powerful strategic tool to gain more influence around the world.
And finally, the vision turns inward. It calls for a restoration of Americans' spiritual and cultural health. The argument here is pretty interesting. National security isn't just about tanks and money. It's also built on a strong foundation, a proud, confident, and unified people.
So that's the what, that's the vision. But how do we get there? That brings us to the playbook. Let's look at the core principles and the top priorities that are supposed to guide every single decision.
The big foundational principle is peace through strength. And the logic here is really key. It's not about using overwhelming strength to start fights. It's about using it to prevent them. The idea is to make the price of threatening American interests so high that nobody in their right mind would even try.
All right, another big principle is what the document calls flexible realism. And this is a major shift. It's basically saying we're done with nation building and trying to force democracy on other countries. Instead, it's a super pragmatic approach. It's all about finding shared interests and having good relationships with countries as they are, not as we wish they were.
Now, when we talk about priorities, the document does not mince words. It's incredibly direct. It just flat out says the era of mass migration is over. This isn't just a policy point. It's framed as a core pillar of national security. It directly links controlling who comes into the country with the future of the nation.
And this is a really crucial takeaway. The strategy is built on the belief that economic security is national security. They're one and the same. So this isn't just about making GDP numbers go up. It's a whole package deal. We're talking balanced trade, secure supply chains, reindustrialization, a stronger defense industry, and energy dominance. It's all connected.
All right, so we've got the diagnosis, we've got the vision, and we've got the playbook. So now let's see how this all comes together on the world map.
How does this strategy actually apply in different parts of the world? Let's go region by region.
Okay, let's start close to home. In the Western Hemisphere, the strategy takes a nearly 200-year-old idea, the Monroe Doctrine, and gives it an update with something it calls the Trump corollary. The bottom line? Reasserting American influence in its own backyard and pushing back hard against any global rivals trying to move in.
Now let's jump across the Pacific to Asia. Here, the strategy is really a two-track approach. Goal number 1, win the economic race for the future. Goal number 2, at the same time, prevent a major military conflict. So you have this idea of intense economic competition running right alongside military deterrence. And check out the math behind that economic plan. The document lays it out like this. You take the US economy, you add in our allies' economies, and you get this massive economic block worth over 65 times trillion dollars. That's more than half of the entire world's economic output. The strategy sees this as a huge source of leverage.
Okay, now for Europe. And when the document talks about Europe, the language gets, well, very strong. It warns of what it calls a real and more stark prospect of civilizational erasure, and it points to things like migration policies, falling birth rates, and what it sees as a loss of national confidence as the root causes of these deep challenges.
So with that diagnosis, what's the plan for Europe? Well, the strategy lays out a few key goals. 1. Reestablish some kind of stability with Russia. 2. Really push Europe to take the main responsibility for its own defense. And 3. End this idea that NATO is just going to keep expanding forever.
And finally, we get to the Middle East. The document signals a really big pivot here. It says the days when the region dominated American foreign policy are, and I quote, thankfully over. The new focus is all about shifting the burden to partners in the region and building on those recent peace deals, instead of having America constantly involved in large-scale interventions.
So, we've gone through the diagnosis, the vision, and the region-by-region playbook. And it all leaves us with one massive question, right? If this strategy were put into action, from top to bottom, how would it actually reshape everything? Our alliances, the global economy, the whole balance of power. It's a huge question, and it really gets to the heart of what this document could mean for the future.